Yeah! Hey guys and girls, hope you're all doing well. This is a video that I'll say it again. It's probably going to be a pretty quick video. It's designed to help you choose what rear springs you need. So if you've got a lift or you're thinking about getting a lift and you're not happy with how high it is, maybe you can work out yourself why. I'm going to explain the most common selection of springs and why in the Dobinsons range. Now I'll just quickly say about Dobinsons why we use them. A couple of the main spring manufacturing companies in Australia are Dobinsons and King Springs, and from many years ago we just like the way Dobinsons do things better. I think I like green better than yellow too, and not that I've had any bad experience with King Springs or their service, but I'm really happy with Dobinsons customer service, and we were supporting and using their products many years ago, so I'm lucky enough to actually know some Dobinsons myself, and of course the service is second to none. And if there was any issues as the company grows, I believe I'll be able to speak direct to someone that can solve the problem. So this video I'm going to talk about the rear spring. So we've just got a set of this, as far as I would know, unofficially would be the most common pair of rear springs for the rear of a Prado. So this is Prado related. So if you haven't got a Prado, if you're going to get a Prado, stick around. But if you haven't got a Prado, then this is irrelevant for you. You can go now. Sorry, I didn't want to waste your time. So I'll release anyone that hasn't got a Prado. But look, there could be some information here that's relevant with all the listings of springs that may help you. Okay, so I'm not going to go through too much about the heights and the weights and the pounds, and we're going to do it in, you know, layman's terms. Keep it simple, stupid type thing. So if you look up a Dobinsons catalogue and you're trying to work out what the rear of your 120, I'll be clear, 120 or 150 Prado, so anything from 2003 through to the current model 2020, as long as you haven't got KDSS or you're on airbags like Kakadoos and VXs and stuff like that, those are a little bit different. So again, we'll make it general. Most GXs, GXLs, I probably should say all, I'm pretty confident all GXs and GXLs, but we'll say most just to cover myself in case I'm wrong. Wouldn't want to be wrong, would we? So this is the most common spring we've certainly used on any vehicle, and it suits most people, and this is why. Okay, so let me explain it this way, trying to put it simple. So the listing, I always don't use the first part of the, I go 325, 327, 329s. It's C59325, C59327, C59329, for example. They're the main three springs that cover all the 120 and 150 Prados. Now, I'm going to tell you so that if you do want to purchase the suspension kit from me, we've got all those videos there explaining the differences to help you choose whether you want, before you contact me, you need to know whether you want twin tubes, whether you want monotubes. I'm very busy, that's why I explain it in video so that you know the answer before you make contact, okay? This one's helping you decide what rear springs you need. I'm going to give you the numbers, I'm going to give you the reasons why. Okay, so let's start off with this one, the most common one, C59327. We're just going to forget about the C59 part. We're just going to go 327s, okay? These are 327s, okay? Most common spring usually works really well on the back of any 120 and 150 Prado. 90% of people go for this spring. I'm just going to do a quick reminder, not if it's a VX or anything else like that, different story. Similar numbers, if I remember correctly, it might be like 727 or something like that. We don't do a lot of those, and as I've said in other videos, I've got a lot of numbers to remember, so I don't want to be held, yeah, you said it was that, so check it, okay? Definitely 327 on the GX and GXL. This is the deal, the catalogue will quote 1 to 300 kilos, okay? I don't quite at all anywhere near agree with that because it's a spring, and the difference between 1 and 300 is 200. 200 kilos on and off that spring at the back of the car there is going to make a massive difference. So personally, I wouldn't write a catalogue that quotes, you know, 1 to 300 kilos, 50 mil lift, because if you've got 100 kilos, you might have 50 mil lift, and if you've got 300, you might have 30 mil lift, right? See the problem we got there? So I'm here to tell you that the base spring, the 325, that's the one under it, right? We said there's three springs, 327, 325, 327, 329, right? The 325, the best way I can explain it is it's kind of like a standard spring and you've added 50 mil length to it, right? So the car's going to sit 50 mil higher, maybe even 60 if you haven't got fuel. What I want you to understand is everything makes a difference. whether the tanks are full or empty. It's 180 litres of fuel. That's a massive difference, okay? Whether you've got an awning hanging off one side, a roof rack, shovels, whether you've got a bigger spare wheel, whether you've got a tow bar, certainly if you've got a rear bar, even if you've got heavy duty side steps, you've got a lot of gear in the back. Have you got a drawer system? Have you got a fridge? Have you got food in? Have you got a cargo barrier? There's so many things that make a difference here, okay? So with the 325 and no weight and no fuel, you might even have 60 to 70 mil, okay? So understand it's a spring. As you add weight, it goes down. As you take away weight, it goes up. It's as simple as that, okay? If somebody wants the ultimate in comfort, absolute ultimate in comfort, and they don't load up the vehicle and go away, they just drive around Tourak and they just want to look cool in their Prado with a 2-inch lift, then maybe a 325 is for you, because it'll give you that height you want. As you load it up, it's going to go down. It doesn't retain as well as this 327, okay? Now the 327, I haven't checked the specs lately, but it was 10 mil shorter, but it was firmer. So one of the important things I think is when you raise the vehicle, when you go up, you're raising the center of gravity. So it's generally may not handle as well. So to offset that, you want to have a heavier spring, okay? So when you go up, if you also go heavier, it's going to firm it up. So you kind of offset that fact that you're raising the vehicle, but the springs are tighter, so they're going to hold it in place later to help reduce the body roll, that the height's going to try and increase the body roll. Yeah, try and offset each other. Hope you get that. So that's another reason I like the 327. It is a bit firmer. This one, it retains the weight, the height a lot better. So again, with no weight, add or subtract fuel, because it's a little bit shorter but a little bit firmer, you basically get the same lift without any weight on the vehicle, okay? At a base setting, you get about the same. Where the difference is when you add the weight to this one, the 327, it's gonna retain a lot better and it's gonna stay up a lot better. And it works in 90% of cases, everybody's really happy. Okay, so I think we've already just about decided that's you. Now, remembering it's really important, the rear of the vehicle is where you want your height. Why? You can get away with it because it's a solid axle, if you like, you know what I mean? It's a solid axle, it's got quite a bit of flex there set up with the rear Dobinsons shocks. They've got a perfect amount of extended travel to keep your wheels on the ground, and you've either got LSD or traction control. You really want to go to the max, the 50 mil, because on the Prados, what drags is the fuel tanks, right? The front fuel tank or the middle fuel tank, whatever you want to call it, the main, middle or front, whatever. And the rear fuel tank, not so much, but of course it is something that can, you know, we see under these vehicles, we use them off-road, we lead trips with people taking them off-road, we see under, we know what hits, we know where they get stuck. Believe me, the fuel tanks is one of your issues. So getting that rear of the vehicle up with a suspension lift is going to be a big help to that. And you want to do it before you do the damage to the vehicle. Okay, so we're aiming for about 50 mil. Generally, the 327 is going to solve that problem for you. Now, what I want you to understand is give or take 10 mil or more. And that's what I said about the weight. So if you've got a mediocre sort of weight, like, you know, you've got maybe a drawer system and a fridge, that'll be all right. Or if you've got a roof rack, a shovel and awning, that'll be all right. Or if you've got side steps and a roof rack, you know, that'll be all right. And if you've got a full tank of fuel and a couple of bags of that, that'll be all right. You're still going to be pretty close to 50 mil. If you have got the biggest, heaviest storage system, a heavy fridge, or if you've got a Kmart steel rear bar and 2 extra spare wheels, not only heavier, but the further back it goes, the more it cantilevers that weight in the vehicle, right? And then you've got a roof rack, an awning and a shovel, and you've got one of those really heavy awnings that's like 30 kilos. It all adds up to massive weight, and that's where you consider going to the next spring, the 329. Okay, to give you an example, in our 120 Prado, it hasn't got a steel rear bar. We don't like steel rear bars because we understand that you want to keep your weight central to the vehicle. That means between all your wheels and tyres, and low is ideal. Obviously, these vehicles, that's not the design, but by adding bull bars and rear bars, you're putting steel forward and rear of the vehicle, which affects the handling and it affects the height and everything of the vehicle as well. So rear bars, in my opinion, not needed unless you go in and do some real crazy tracks and you're doing that every weekend. Then I know there's some people out there that it suits, so that's cool. Don't get upset because you got a rear bar. I know if you're hitting the tracks every weekend and the hardest tracks, and that's what tickles your butt, you know, fancy, absolutely, you know, go for it. Put the rear bar on and go for the heavier spring. But the negative of the heavier spring is because it's so heavy, it might not flex and compress as well. It's not going to be a big problem, but it's something to take into account. Again, the positive is it's even heavier, so when you're on road, it's going to handle better. You might feel the bumps and the ride a bit more, but you're going to have less body roll because it's a stiffer spring, right? So I hope that helps you understand. They're your 3 choices. There is some other choices that we used to use, which was like a 327. I think one might be called a 487, and there was a 6 something or other as well. It got a bit confusing, and what was happening is It was this spring, the 327, that we made, oh, you know, you just want a bit high, so we made it like 10 mil longer, if you know what I mean, which is all right, and you can still do that, and that spring's available, but I've decided against that for the reasons I've sort of already described, and that is by using the lighter spring and going higher, you increase that body roll, that wallowing a little bit, possibly. So I've just gone, you know what, let's keep it simple, stupid. Kiss, let's kiss it, all right? Let's kiss it now. And it's 325, 327, 329. You make your choice. If height's everything for you and you get it with the fuel tanks and you know you're heavy, go for a 329 and suck it up, princess. Don't talk about the ride, even though it's not bad. We got them in the 120. I was reluctant to use them, but the few people that did told me they were quite happy with the ride. In the end, I put them in the 120. Best thing I ever did. And it sits, the rear sits at a, you know, about the 50 mil lift. It all depends, you know. I mean, we've got a storage system, we've got a fridge, we've got heavy duty side steps, we've got a tow bar, we've got a steel roof rack, we've got an awning, we've got a shovel, we've got quite a bit of gear in the back all the time, but it still sits really well. When we go away for a trip and we load it up, put stuff, heaps of stuff on the roof, enough for 4 people, the tents and swags and chairs, and fill up the whole back of the car, chock-a-block, every last cubic, it still sits nice, okay? So 329 for me. If you're heavy and you want the height, and I'm not too fussed about the flex off-road with the 329 being a bit less, because I'm not chasing the hardest tracks, you know? It'll do the job, but it's always a compromise, guys. I hope you understand that. 325 if you want light and comfortable and you're a show pony. 327 are going to suit 90% of people's vehicles. And so if you're going to send me that text message about suspension and you've seen this video, please include, I want the 327s in the rear, please. The other little tip I'm going to add on the end is if you've got KDSS, it's different springs. They're a different length side to side. Now there's basically the same springs in a different part number, and because they're a different length, 5 mil different side to side, it's a different number, but similar information as what I've explained here. So you can still look on the Dobinsons listing, convert the part number over. It might be like I said, a 327, might be a 727. So you'll say, hey, I want the 727s in the rear. Anyway, guys, this was the rear. We're done and dusted. Bada bing, bada boom. Let's get you some 327s. Thanks for watching, guys. If you haven't already, subscribe, turn the bell on. Heaps more information coming your way. Really important you've got that bell on so you don't miss out and fall further behind. And if you got something out of that, please give us a thumbs up. I'm out of here, guys. See ya. Thanks.